In Silicon Valley, corporate pivots and infrastructure builds usually unfold over months or years. But starting at roughly 1336 UTC on April 15, 2026, the timeline compressed. Over a single 12-hour window, tech feeds saw a concentrated burst of high-stakes announcements that normally take months to materialize. First, three fierce rivals in the chip manufacturing space announced a rare, multi-million-dollar alliance. Less than an hour later, a dying, eco-friendly shoe brand declared it was abandoning retail entirely to become an AI compute provider, triggering an immediate stock market frenzy. And finally, Tesla activated proactive voice AI inside millions of existing consumer vehicles on the road. This sequence of events signals that AI has exited the research phase and entered a global, unpredictable free-for-all. The sequence started at 1306 GMT. Wayve, an autonomous driving startup, announced a $60 million extension to its Series D funding round. The $60 million figure is standard for the industry, but the investor list was a departure from the norm. AMD, ARM, and Qualcomm, companies that spend billions competing for silicon market share, pooled their resources to back one single startup. This diagram shows exactly what they're building. Wayve is developing what analysts call the Android of autonomy, a hardware-agnostic AI layer. Wayve acts as a universal translator, allowing self-driving software to run on practically any silicon. This universal approach is already translating to the physical world, with the company securing real-world fleet integration through a pipeline of Uber pilots kicking off in 2026. That pipeline extends to Nissan production vehicles slated for 2027, backed by prior support from legacy automakers like Mercedes-Benz and Stellantis. This cross-vendor cooperation suggests that the cost of hardware fragmentation has become too high for even the largest rivals to solve alone. Just over an hour later, at 1411 GMT, the timeline fractured again. The account, TBPN, broke the news that Allbirds had initiated an extreme structural overhaul. Allbirds was a public benefit corporation famous for sustainable wool sneakers, once valued at roughly $4 billion. But by April 2026, the stock had collapsed to around $20 million, placing the brand near bankruptcy. Faced with collapse, the company sold its entire footwear operation and branding for $39 million, using that capital to secure a $50 million financing facility. The money was for high-performance graphics processing units. The company announced a planned corporate name change to NewBird AI, pivoting entirely to leasing computing power to developers through a GPU-as-a-service business model. This chart tracks the BIRD ticker on the Nasdaq. Retail traders seized on the pivot, fueling an immediate 370% intraday surge. The buying pressure kept mounting, driving shares up to an 875% peak by the close. Social media amplified the frenzy. High-profile creators like Dave Portnoy reacted to the news in real time, pulling in over 1 million views on X and fueling the chaotic trading volume. This shift demonstrates how computing infrastructure has become a primary driver of volatile market hype and meme stock dynamics. By 1747 GMT, the focus shifted from Wall Street back to the driveway. Tesla's official account dropped the details for their Spring Update 2026.14. The update activated a new "Hey Grok" voice wake word. The system now proactively initiates conversations with the driver, asking questions or suggesting actions without needing a prompt. This diagram illustrates the new geofencing capability. A driver can tell Grok to remind them to buy cat food when they get close to home, and the vehicle triggers the reminder the moment it crosses the digital perimeter of the house. A brief 21-second demo video of the feature reached over 404,000 views in hours as users recognized the practical utility of a location-aware assistant. This update represents the moment AI embedded itself into the physical, daily routines of millions of drivers. By 0136 UTC on April 16th, the window closed. In just 12 hours, these three stories generated millions of impressions, dominating tech journalism and retail trade feeds. Taken together, they map out the complete ecosystem: foundational chip alliances, server hardware funded by Wall Street hype, and software embedding itself into consumer cars. Every post from this window represents a binding financial lease, a multi-million-dollar investment, or a firmware update running on real-world hardware. This historic 12-hour window was a preview of the new hyper-accelerated AI normal. The infrastructure is being built, the capital is flowing, and the tools are already in our hands.